Well, here they are. I folded these up like 10 minutes ago and I've just been shuffling them around. I have no idea which one's which. But before I choose somebody, how I did it was I counted all the comments and I did a random number generator, and whatever number popped up corresponded to each comment in a certain way. And it was 1 through 55 because there was 55 comments. And so I chose 5 out of that. And so I have those 5 in that bowl, and I'm just gonna stick my hand in and I'm gonna close my eyes and shuffle around until I just grab one. But I want to let you know, if you don't win, don't worry, because you have another chance. My channel did hit 50 subs, and that means I have to give out another $100. Right now I'm at like 91 subs, which is insane. Thank you, everybody. That caught me off guard so much. I don't really know what to say, and I'm gonna be broke. Basically, in 9 more subscribers, I have to do another giveaway. But the giveaway I'm gonna do next is going to be announced next week sometime, but it's gonna start now. And basically how you're gonna enter that one is you're gonna like this video, you're gonna subscribe, and then also for this one you're just gonna comment which one of these tips from this video was your favorite tip. But without further ado, oh, one fell out. Should I just take this one that fell out? I really want to know who it is now, because ooh. No, I'll do it how I said I was gonna do it. So as you can see, this is how I'm doing it, and I'm just gonna grab this one. You all saw that, right? And the big reveal. Oh my God. It's Creighton. Creighton Ball. That is actually funny because only Creighton's really gonna understand that, and Kaylee too, probably. But that's awesome. Well, congratulations, Creighton. I owe you $100, and try and test your luck again and enter this next giveaway. But let's get on to the video.
Still really cold in here.
So as you know from the video title, this is going to be a video about the 10 biggest mistakes that investors make. These are in no particular order really, they're just 10 mistakes. This is my friend Jayden Yancey. He knows a lot about this stuff too. He's been doing a lot of research too, and I'm excited to have him here today.
Happy to be here.
So let's just get straight into it, and for number 1, we're going to say letting your emotions rule over you.
Okay, so one of the core foundations of stock buying and stock selling is you using logic for everything, right? So you're never going to buy based off of what you're feeling that day, because if you're checking your Robinhood account every single day, you're gonna see it go up, you're gonna see it go down, and that might influence your decisions in a huge way. So you could try practicing self-control, and you could maybe check it monthly, yearly, or maybe you don't need to even do that. Maybe you could just understand this principle so deeply and understand that you need to use facts and logic and research to make your decisions, and you'll make it out better than nearly everyone else who is using fear to influence their decisions. Okay, our second point we're going to be going into is following the herd, right? So just like letting your emotions rule you, this is not wise. Everything you do in the stock market or investing in general should be based on logic and your confidence in your financial literacy, which we'll get into later.
Usually when everyone's talking about this great stock that you should invest in, it's usually too late to invest in it. But there is occasions where it's not too late. Like for example, everyone was starting to talk about Tesla, and it just kept growing and growing, and who knows if it still will or not. Not really 100% sure into that. But Elon Musk has become the richest guy in the world now, so at least his net worth.
Yeah. All right, so the third one's going to connect to our last one, following the herd, in a couple ways. So one of the ways would be, if you're following the herd, that doesn't really show much confidence in yourself, right? So you're basing your logic off of other people, which who knows what they're thinking, who knows if that's even following your own financial goals. So one of the things you want to do is make a plan, right? So am I a day trader? Am I a long-term investor? Am I going to buy and hold? What are your goals? Some people want to get rich fast. Some people don't care about that as much, right? So understand yourself, understand where you want to be in 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and go from there.
So number 4 is when you don't understand your risk tolerance. And basically, It's that sometimes people invest, but they won't put enough money into what they're investing in. Like they'll put $10 or $5, and I mean, depending on a stock's price, or I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be in stocks, but this is kind of what we're talking about. Depending on that stock's price, it might only be a $5 stock, so you do own one share, and whatever happens to that stock happens to you too. But if you're not investing enough, you won't really see any real returns that make a difference in your life.
And everyone loses in the stock market eventually, right? So that's the risk you're taking. If you want big returns, you're gonna have to take big losses. But it's how you respond to those losses that makes the difference in the end. Every billionaire, millionaire in the world has had huge losses in their past, right? So if you respond to those losses like they respond to their losses, you're gonna become very successful, maybe even as successful as they are.
So the fifth one is a pretty common known thing. It's diversification. It's something that's really widely known, but it is ignored by a lot of people because a lot of people will pour like basically all of their money into one thing, and then if that thing fails, then there goes all their money. So personally, we invest on Robinhood, which we're not saying you have to. There's other things like Webull. Anyway, so on Robinhood, there's this cool feature that'll show you how much of that stock is your total portfolio, and it's kind of good to know. You don't really want to go over 15 to 20% on one thing. If you're really confident in it, I think it's all right to go a little bit more than 15%, but in general rule, you should never really have one of your investments be over 15%. A way to instantly diversify is to invest in index funds, which are basically these things I've gone over in this channel before, but they're things where they will track a bunch of different companies of the top companies or whatever that index fund is specifically for. Like some will do tech, some will do smaller companies, and it'll just track all of them and buy a little bit of their shares and kind of turn it into one. So you're kind of investing in tons of businesses. Instead of buying every single stock, you're just buying one stock that does all of it for you. So you don't have to buy a share from Tesla, Apple, Microsoft.
And this mitigates risk really well because if one stock in the S&P 500, for instance, which is a really popular index fund, if one of those stocks like Tesla or Microsoft goes under for some reason, you still have 499 other stocks that can carry you. And unless the entire stock market goes down, which it does in a recession, which isn't something to be worried about either, you're usually fine. So, like I said, for the S&P 500, this is a really great index fund because the stock market returns 10%, but then minus the inflation, that'd be 7 to 8% each year. And since the index fund tracks the top 500 companies, or the S&P 500 tracks the top 500 companies in the United States, that means you're gonna basically get those returns every year, with some variance, of course, but that's a really great way to compound your money over years. It's certainly way better than a savings account, which oftentimes the interest is lower than inflation, so you're actually losing money.
Our sixth mistake is trying to time the market. It's really, really hard to time the market, and I really don't think you should try to do it because studies have shown that 94% of your returns are based on what you're investing in and not necessarily how you're timing them. If you invest in a stock and you're trying to time when it comes low, you're just never gonna buy it because you're just gonna be waiting for it to be lower and lower. Even if you buy this stock at a price that was higher than it was a week later, you're still gonna make money in the long run because if it's a good company, which you should do your research on, the stock price is gonna be above what you invested in initially anyway. And sure, you may have not had as much of a return as you potentially could have, but it's still better than trying to wait and never really investing much in the first place.
Our number 7 mistake is not being financially literate. I know this sounds incredibly boring, but it's probably the number one most important thing you could work on to become a rich person someday. In Robert Kiyosaki's famous financial book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I would highly recommend reading, he really pushes this concept, right? He basically pushes the idea that financial literacy lowers the risk of investments, right? Because the more you know about money in general, the less likely you are to make mistakes. So in the future, like when you're handling a large sum of money, potentially, you can make bigger risks and be okay with it. This is shown in countless examples where millionaires or billionaires will lose all their money and then make it back. That's not a coincidence. They know what they're doing. They're very financially literate. So even if they make huge mistakes and lose, like we said, everyone loses, they can still make it back up and become as rich as they once were, if not richer.
So the number 8 mistake is when people wait too long to invest. Now, before I get going on this, it's not ever too late to start investing. As long as you're investing smart, you're going to be making more money than you would have had anyways in those following years. So you may as well invest no matter where you are in life. Just to go back to the example that it's never too late, even if you start at 40 years of age, and you put in $500 a month to your investments and you get an average return rate of 7%. Over 20 years, you'll put in $120,000, but you'll return $270,000. So it's never really too late, so get investing.
All right, so number 9 has a lot to do with letting emotions rule you, right? So number 9 is don't let people critique you and influence your opinions. So you may have friends that say investing isn't safe or investing is risky and like you're never gonna make money in the long run, right? And the people that do make money are few and far between, but don't listen to them, right? You don't know how much experience they have. You don't know if their personal goals and their ideas match your personal goals and ideas, but you have confidence in yourself, especially if you're financially literate. Of course, you can always listen to people and decide for yourself if you agree, but you always have to have confidence in your own decisions. And that's where being financially literate comes into play. There's a difference between listening to people's opinions and their subjective views on money and making your decisions based around that, and when they give you facts and research and understanding of a concept that can apply to anything.
So you're gonna hate me for this, but number 10 is don't forget to like and subscribe, because you really do want to invest in yourself, and promoting yourself and the things you do is just really important, and you gotta have that self-confidence.
And Ethan is really good at that. He puts a lot of hard work into his channel, and every single week I talk to him, it seems like he knows more and more things about investing. So he's really great at investing in himself, and if he didn't use this as number 10 on the list, he would be a hypocrite, right? Because he's always investing in himself, and this channel is a great investment in himself.
Even if this channel never really does take off somewhere huge, I just am glad to be putting more knowledge out there. Plus, I feel like it helps me learn more about myself anyway. Like I do at the end of every video, if you made it this far, I just really appreciate that, and consider subscribing and liking if you're kind of into finance and other things I might randomly do sometimes. I don't really know 100%. But I just wanted to give you all a big thanks.
As always, thanks for watching.